simplest example of a coordinated movement is walking. You can walk together with your apprentice side by side. This is a classic RDI activity. It's a fun, classic activity that you're gonna start at this end of your room and you're gonna end maybe in beanbags, crushing beanbags. It's fun, exciting. You know, we wanna motivate our apprentice to wanna play with us, right? When you're just starting out, you could hold hands. You could also use a marker on the floor to help your apprentice. You could use a variety of different things. You could use a mat. You could use painter tape, blue painter tape to make lines on the floor. You could put start at the beginning where you're gonna start. You could put finish where you're gonna end. The visuals, the markers on the floor, that is called what we call scaffolding. So that will help your apprentice to know what they need to do. The way I like to do this activity is I like to start with my apprentice and say, I'm ready, and stand on my mark. So now my mark can be, like I said, a square on the floor, or even just a piece of masking tape that says start. So, ready? Look at your apprentice. Now you should see your apprentice then shift up at you, like, okay, I'm ready. And then you can start. So then you can use your chant, walking, walking, walking. And your apprentice should be saying next to you as you walk to the end, walking, walking, go slow, walking, walking, walking. Right at the edge of the beanbags, I would pause to get that greater anticipation. Pause. Look at my apprentice. See, my apprentice looks back at me, and then say, ready, set, crash. And then crash down into the beanbags. And the objective is for your apprentice to stay with you and coordinate movements with you. So you want them to stay together with you. Why is that important? Well, think about when you're out in Target and you're walking with your apprentice. You want them to stay with you. You want them to stay connected to you. You want them to be aware that they need to shift their attention to you. If they do, if they're not next to you, you want them to notice it. So the first stage of doing the coordinated movements is doing it correctly, walking together, seeing if your apprentice stays with you. Then you could start adding in variations. So variations are important to add into an activity because we don't want an activity to ever become static or the same. So one, we want to add variations as the guide. And two, we want to then have our apprentice have the responsibility to add variations. But we need to work up onto that we are only going one step ahead at a time. So the first piece is just to make sure that they're taking your invitation, they're coming next to you, they're ready to go. Second, that they willingly walk with you, they're noticing. Okay, so you might start with holding hands. If you can do it side by side without holding hands, great. Now, one thing you can try to see is if, as you're walking, if you stop, will your apprentice stop? Probably not the first time because they're not expecting it. But it's not that they stop, it's that what do they do when they notice the disconnection? It's very, very important. We need our kids with autism to realize in engagements there are disconnections and they need to take responsibility to reconnect.
So what does the research say?
Repair is important in helping to teach the child that life is filled with inevitable moments of misunderstandings and misconnections that can be identified and connection created again. Such interactive repair allows the child to make sense of periods of painful disconnection and create a sense of meaning out of the understanding of one's own and another's mind.
We want to make make sure they notice the disconnection and they even care. You know, a lot of times when I start this activity, all the child wants to do is get to the end, get to that beanbag, get to falling into that beanbag. They're not waiting for me. They're not caring about me. What we want them to realize is I am their partner, and it's more fun if we do it together as a team, if we fall in those beanbags together as a team. So if they're walking with me, okay, and we get to the end and we can shift our gaze to each other in anticipation and fall into those beanbags together and laugh and smile, that's great. So the next thing I want to do is I want to make sure if I'm walking and I stop and they keep going, what do they do? We want to see them do is realize it, number one. And number two, stop and think. And number three, take responsibility and come back to me. Okay? So it's 3 parts. We want them to notice the disconnect. 2, stop and think. And you'll see them hopefully stop and be like, okay, what should I do? Now at this point, we don't want to tell them what to do. So in RDI, we don't want to tell our apprentice what to do. We want them to use their own brain. We don't want them to use our brain. We want them to think of what they need to do and take that action on their own. So we don't want to prompt them, oh no, Johnny, stop, I stopped, you need to stop, come back here, come back on the spot. Or, oh no, Johnny, grab them, push them back, ooh, push them back here, oh, you gotta stay with me here, we gotta go together. We don't want to do that. We want to just be like, stop, and be like, oh. And wait. Now, hopefully, again, we want to make sure that there's that gaze shift so they're paying attention to us, that they notice them. Like, we don't want to just be like, if no one's looking at us, but like, if we're like, oh, uh-oh, because like we can make like sound effects that will usually shift their attention. Oh, we're supposed to be doing it together. So like if that doesn't work, we could add the verbal. Where's my partner? We're a team. We're supposed to be doing it together. You could do that, or you could be like calling them, come on back, we're gonna do it together. You know, depending. So you have to feel it out, you have to play around with it. But what you want to work toward is when you stop, they realize it and make that repair. So making the repairs is so, so important because we want them to have responsibility and take responsibility to do that. Another thing we want to do is we want to add variations to this game so that it is fun and it is not static and it doesn't get boring. So we can vary speed. So we can start and we can go, we're walking, let's go fast, and go really fast to the finish line. Or we can start right from the beginning and we can do it. Okay, how are we gonna do it this time? We know how to walk to the end and crush in the bag. How should we do it this time? Let's go slow, 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 slow. You could do that the whole way to the end, or you can say, let's go slow, 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 and you could stop, and fast, and then go fast. Like, so you can mix it up, depending on your partner, your apprentice, their abilities. You want to make it fun, you want to mix it up. You can maybe start at the beginning, just start, say, let's go slow and go slow to the end. And then if that's successful a couple times, then you could like switch it up where you go, let's go slow, and then in the middle go, oh, fast, and then switch it up. Again, we want to also allow them to add variations too. So for them to add variation, maybe it's easy, maybe it's not easy. So that's something you might have to work on. You could do different things where you can hop, you can jump, you can twirl, you can walk backwards. You know, use your imagination. Many different ways that you could walk. You could walk like a crab, you could walk like a turtle, you could swim like a fish, you could be a ballerina, you could be a princess, you could be a lion. There's millions of different ways that you can walk from this point to that point and fall into the beanbags. So have fun with it and just think about the process. Now, if your child starts adding in their ideas and their variations, great. If not, then you have to work on them being able to contribute their idea. So how can you do that? So say you say, okay, now we know, we walk to the end, we go from this side, we go to the end, everything's fine. Oh, I have an idea. I like to do that too. I have an idea. Let's pretend we're, and you can even like pick a category. Let's pretend we're animals. Let's say we're bunny rabbits. And we hop. And then you do that idea. And then when the apprentice is trying to say, ooh, what can we do now? Let's be, and then maybe they'll say, dogs. And you say, good idea. Let's be dogs. Ready? And you can pretend you're dogs to the end. If your apprentice is having a hard time coming up with ideas, you can scaffold that. You could have give them ideas. Like you could have cards, you could have animal cards, you could have movement cards, you could have them out in front of you. You could pick from cards for them to pick one. You could have a poster of different ideas that they can pick from. It's just the idea that you are going to practice taking turns, adding in the variations. And then the more you practice, the more they get used to it, then they will get better and better at it.
If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time, and don't forget, if I can do it, you can do it.